Sharing the screen. Can you guys see my window?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
All right. So my name is Danish, and I'm a full-time options trader. I trade index options, index and future options, and I trade options using charts. And there are many things in a chart that we can talk for hours and days, but the first basic building block is the candle. And a candle is a very important uh, part because there have been different kinds of chart that have been in use for many decades, but ultimately the world gravitated towards the candlestick charts. These were invented in Japan a few hundred years back by rice traders, and people are still following this for stock market. And this basically indicates nothing but human behavior, candlestick charts. Um, so a candlestick chart usually represents four basic uh, data sets. So let's say, uh, if you have any questions, just raise the hand and I'll stop. If anyone, if I'm going too fast.
Are you sharing anything, brother?
Can you not see the screen?
No, I cannot.
I can see the screen.
Yeah, we can see that.
All right. So maybe you need to, get off and get on the call. So
Okay, sure.
So candlestick is the basic building block of this chart. So I'll tell you the basic difference between few different chart types. This used to be the most common representation of stock market, one line going up. And this line represents nothing but the closing prices of whatever period we are talking about. So on a daily chart, we are looking at the closing prices of the day. On an hourly chart, we're looking at the closing prices of the hour. So every 60th minute, this is what it's showing us. But the question is, what happened for the remaining 59 minutes? Nobody knows that answer. So I will say I go to 1 minute. And then somebody says, well, you know about 60th second. What happened between, the two consecutive 60th seconds? Nobody knows that answer. So I cannot keep on digging into data. It's too much of the data to process. So line chart is certainly not that informative, whereas a candlestick chart shows a different story altogether. When we have a candle, let me go back to our day for easy visibility. Yeah. So let's say this candle, this big green one. This candle has four data sets represented by two components. One component is the body of the candle. There's the big green box right there. And the other component is these threads. Now, what do these two things show? So the body shows that this was the opening and closing price of the candle. That means the opening price during this time period and the closing price is shown by the body of the candle, the box. If it is a green candle, it opens at the bottom. If it is a red candle and closes at the top. If it is a red candle, it opens at the top and closes at the bottom. The red candle falls down. The green candle grows up. It can also be represented in some platforms. It is represented as hollow and red instead of green and red. Hollow candles. See, on some platforms that's how it's shown. A hollow candle is going up, and a solid candle is going down. So depending on what platform you're using, it might be different appearance, but this is the basic data set that's being shown here. And the thread. Now, thread is the highest and lowest data points of that period. So the highest price was this, and the lowest price was right here. And when I hover my cursor on any candle, if you notice the top row here, it says O, H, L, and C. That's open, high, low, and close. So when I hover my mouse, keep my mouse on this candle, the opening is 32.49.25. The closing is 32.65.5. High is 32.71.75, and low is 32.27.25. So you know this way that during this day, how much action was taking place. And how do you define action? Well, if it's a very long thread compared to the body, that means there was a lot of hustling going on between buyers and sellers. When it is going down, that means there are more sellers than buyers. When it is going up, that means that there are more buyers than sellers. Does it make any sense? Demand supply game. Anyone?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, for trading, from trading perspective, any day which has a very long thread or a very long wick, as they call it, the candle which has a very long wick is a very good day for a seasoned trader and a very bad day for a amateur trader, because they get burnt here. The amateur traders, they get burnt here and here, whereas a seasoned trader would make money when it's going down and will make money when it's going up. So a candle can always be split, like splitting the hair. You go to an hourly chart on this particular candle, and that's yesterday's candle. All right. That's 22nd of July. Starts on 21st at 22nd at 8 a.m. as per Sydney time. Let me draw a vertical line to demarcate the hours. This is where it started, the whole day. That's where it ended. This was the previous day's candle, which had a long thread. So it went all the way to the bottom, all the way to the top, and the opening price was here. This is the opening price, and the closing price was here. This is where it closed. So these 4 points have been denoted by that candle. Now, how can a seasoned trader make money from this information? Longer the thread, more the money for a seasoned trader. And how so? Well, if you just see here, there is a 0.43% increment. Or if you go from this top to this bottom, and I'm not even catching the exact bottom, it's 1.2% down. And similarly, on the way back up, let's not catch the bottom. Oh, sorry. Now we go all the way to the top. Again, 1.17% increment. So even if you are not shorting, you're just going long, this is a increment of 1.17 plus 0.45, close to 1.5%. even more, 1.6% increment in within 24 hours. This is within 24 hours. So as I said, a person who knows how to trade, they can just look at the candle and say, well, this is the time to make money. And that's how, so no matter what moving average or indicators you use, they all are based on these candles. And this is the primary data sets. So if you need to actually trade, you need to figure out your candles. That's how I put it. If you know your alphabets, you know what you're talking about, whatever language you're talking about, communicating in. So candles are like alphabets in trading business. All right. So every candle, as I say, tells a story. And how does every candle tell a story? If you zoom out, and this is how I personally say the trend. Where is the trend? People say, well, the trend is going down. Oh my God, the world is crashing. I go to a smaller time frame, let's say 15 minutes, and I zoom out to the maximum level. And what I see here is, it's like trying to climb up. It's trying to climb up. There are steps. If I go to a smaller time granulation, let's say 5 minutes, it's even more evident. And because of the screen size, it limits me. But let's say we go on an hour. Ever since 23rd of March, there has been a steady climb up, even on an hourly candle. I'm not even talking about 23 or 24 hours candles, daily candles. There is a constant traction, and I don't need a line to show me. What I do is I just go to smaller granulation time period and I zoom it out, and I see a line right there. Looks like a line when you zoom out, right? A thick line. And this is the beauty of candle, because when you turn it into a daily candle, suddenly the noise goes out. There are clean candles. But the whole thing is, like I say, every candle tells a story. So this particular candle will be discussed for decades to come. The one on 23rd of March. This is like the sword of Excalibur, stuck in the rock. This is where the market hit the rock bottom and then it bounced back up. If I just put the cursor here, if you can read on the top here, this row, the range of this candle, you will understand the magnitude, what I'm talking about. It opened at 2220.25, closed at 2220.50. It barely moved 0.25 points. And yet the highest was 2386 and the lowest was 2174. It's like 200 points up and down. So on this particular day, the bulls and the bears, the buyers and the sellers, they were in a very fierce clash. And eventually it led to a very marginal victory of the buyers on this day. But that marked a milestone. I mean, this is where the fight ends for the bears. And this is how the candle, again, every candle tells a story. If you go on an hourly candle on chart on this particular day, it will be all over up and down. So and if we actually convert it into a weekly candle, it's a small blip. We had a perfect V recovery. Falls down, goes back up straight. Would anybody like to ask any question? Anyone? No one? Okay, I'll show you one more thing. How do I personally do trend analysis using candles? So this is a weekly chart, and I'm just zooming out as far as I can. And we are here in 2009. And what I do is just make a trend line, a simple line connecting this point, this point, this point, and this point. I don't care about this point for now. And similarly, I'll try to catch all the tops here, ignoring this top. I'll start at this point, okay? I'm trying to cover as many tops as possible, leaving this one outside. This looks like breaking this channel, breaking this channel. But when we turn it, the same graph into a monthly candlestick chart, we zoom in. I hope you will be able to see how these candles are respecting these lines, one on the top and one on the bottom. And as per this, we never broke this 11-year-long bull run. And we are still in a very strong uptrend, now stronger than ever. So whenever somebody expects that the market is going down, and I have a discussion with the person, I always ask them, tell me a reason why are you thinking of like that? Because we are so close to all-time high. There is no one who will gain if the market goes down at this point. And that's what I see in candles. I don't use news for my trading analysis. I don't use fundamentals for my trading analysis because I believe those factors are already taken care of by the market making forces. And I am too small to wrap my head around all that information. So the market makers already know this, what's happening or not. So that being said, whatever information for buyers and sellers, it's already depicted in these candles because this is nothing but an actual transaction happening somewhere. This is a real transaction happening somewhere, which is represented by a tick. That's what is a transaction called as. Every tick is a transaction. So every tick is a real tick. Somewhere in the world, there is a transaction happening, which is represented on this chart. The whole humanity, whatever they do, it gets represented on this chart directly or indirectly. And if this chart is showing an upward trend, which it is, it's showing that someone is actually making a transaction. Even now, if we go to a minute chart, you will see it's moving. It's moving. So people who are intraday traders, they actually trade on 1 minute or 5 minute charts, and they usually ride the wave based on the candlestick pattern. For example, this is a very signature style candlestick pattern. This is called as the bullish engulfing candle. This one right here. Also this one right here, it's a bullish engulfing candle. The reverse is also true. That's called as, so a bullish engulfing candle is where there is a big candle that engulfs the previous candle of different color. So bullish is green after red, and bearish is vice versa. This is a bearish engulfing candle right here, this one. So typical day traders or intraday traders, they do this. When there is a bearish engulfing, they will ride the wave down. Now there is a bullish engulfing on a 5-minute chart, and it's on the way up. As you can see right now, this is happening. On a 5-minute chart, this is going up. People will buy in here and sell at the top. And this is applicable for any index, any stock, anything. Well, right now we are looking at S&P 500 index futures, but any index or stock ticker would behave the same way. If any of you would like, we can open any other ticker symbol, or we can keep looking at this one.
Can we actually go to ASX 200?
ASX 200 XJ. Oh. There you go. ASX 200 index.
So as per this chart, now is the time to buy, right? If we are doing intraday, because
Yep.
we have this bullish thing.
Yep. Again, it's on a 5-minute chart.
Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah. You cannot base your decision on a 5-minute and on the entry and take a decision on a 1 hour on the exit. You cannot do that.
So how do we take the decision? Based on
Well, there are more than one ways. Again, there are moving averages as you called out, but
Yeah.
the basic I always say is the candle, and like that's like a really long topic. I don't think we can cover all of those things.
yeah. So I
But
put SMA here.
SMA?
Yeah. If you add in SMA here.
Sure, hold on. What period?
20. All right.
There you go. 8.
So even as per this SMA, because the candles are going
Above.
just started to go above the SMA, right?
Yeah.
So that indicates it's a buying entry thing, right?
Yeah, and this is the entry point.
Yeah.
This is beginning of an uptrend now. ASX just opened, right? An hour back.
An hour back, yep.
Yeah. So you could just trade on a simple chart, as I say. But I mean, it's SMA is something. There are again, there are so many fancy moving averages, and people think more the number of lines, better the chart looks. But I focus mainly on my candles, because even if you look at this chart, and I'm just zooming out on ASX 200, right? I'm just hiding SMA.
Yeah.
It's like rapids, in a river.
Yep.
It's going up. You just look at it like a river rapids. It's just upstream. I see a general trend up. Let's turn it into an hour so that we can squeeze in more time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking a step here, then shoots up, taking a step here, rests, shoots up, rests, shoots up, rests. That's what it's doing. That's how I see it. And there are many other things that I use in, sync with candlestick analysis, moving averages, Fibonacci lines, past trends, repeating patterns. Patterns repeat all the time because we all humans behave the same way whenever we are scared, whenever we are greedy. So as once I had learned, there are only two things in market. When you look at the screen, you will know it. There are only two things. The red means fear, the green means greedy. So the more greed you see, the more fearful you should get, and vice versa. So whenever I zoom out or zoom in, if I see more green, well, that means we're going up. But that also means if we have consistent green, like here, consistent green, we need to have a red day. We need to have red so that we can take some breath. When we have huge greens, we have huge reds. It has to kind of balance out. Slightly in favor of green to go up, but there has to be a balance between red and green. Now this is like a perfect balance between red and green, but because it is overcompensating for this green here, we're falling back down. So there should always be a balance between red and green. That's what I personally feel. Because if there is no balance, it will come down. Like here, like here. Any other question?
I think, I mean, I had a question, but I think it would be like I was wondering about the exit price, brother. So I'm not sure if that would be a topic that we can cover.
That's a lot of things to consider for exit. I mean, simple moving average is just one thing, but there are many other things that I will recommend. But as you can see, the minute price goes down, you can shoot. You can sit on your cash. The minute it goes up, you can get into the position. But that's altogether different discussion. A lot of things. But the holy grail is the candle itself. Look at this one. This candle has such a long tail, and it's going down. There is so much buying pressure to go down, and yet the bulls managed to push it all the way back up. That's how I see it, and hence I say every candle tells a story. If we go on a 5-minute chart on today's, see, there was so much selling pressure, and the bulls pushed it all the way back up.
So why do we need to change the interval? So is it dependent on the kind of intraday trading or the frequency of the trading that we do?
So when I change the intro time period, I see how the momentum is building up or not, or whatever direction it's building up. Like I told you when I was looking at that 1 hour candle, I told you that there is a lot of selling pressure and the bulls are trying to push up. See? Did you just see it just flicked up?
Yeah.
I said it looking at this candle when okay, I'll show you this thing on a minute chart now. Sell, 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 sell. And then the bulls come in and they push it up, 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 up. This is how I see it. To me, when I say every candle tells a story, I actually mean it. I actually mean that the bulls are actually working right now. The day opened here. It went all the way to the bottom. And now the bulls are pushing it back up. So what I see here is the momentum building up. The bulls are building up the momentum. This is a bullish engulfing, and for sure this is followed by an uptrend. And it also happens to be that sometimes the trends are in contradiction to each other. Let's say the daily trend would be showing you down, whereas the hourly might show you up, or vice versa. So what happens in that case is, if the smaller trend continues for a long time, the bigger trend gets affected by that. If the bigger trend is very strong, let's say if we are in a very strong downtrend, and then there are a few hours or few minutes of green candles up, it just cannot keep up with the pressure from the opposite direction. So that's how I go from different time periods in and out. I go from 5 minutes to 1 hour. Now suddenly this candle became green. Can you see that?
Yeah.
What was a red hammer has become a green hammer. Inverted hammer rather. It is an inverted hammer, which itself is a bullish symbol. Inverted hammer, right?
Right.
So all of those names are not just because somebody said inverted hammer will take you up. No, you can actually see it happening inside this candle. Every time candle tells a story. That's what I mean by it. You go to the smaller granulation or the bigger granulation. And I also look at 4 hours, just so you know. 4 hour candle. Do you see the hammer? Inverted hammer. It is going up. I also look at the daily, weekly, and monthly. This is daily. This is just fine. This is weekly. Now weekly is showing me a very constant uptrend. You can just draw a stupid line and say that we are in an uptrend. And let me show you something interesting. When I turn it into a line chart, see how the line is literally, this price line is tracking this trend line.
Yeah, but we don't know how long it will be bullish, right? We can't really say that using the trends.
Yes, just with this stupid line, of course not. But there are other things that are beyond the scope of this call, which tell how to for how long we are going up, or are we going down tomorrow, or are we going up tomorrow. Like my analysis is usually the next candle. I always try to figure out what will be the next candle. Now the next candle on whatever time period I'm looking at is what I'm talking about, right? So the next week, the next candle here would be somewhere around here, right? Just on this line, sticking on top of this line. So this is a weekly candle. So for the next 1 week, man, you have the answer, right? But if we go to a smaller granulation, let's say 1 day, we're still going up. We might see something like this: a spike up, a fall down, a spike up, a fall down, and yet we are still tracking this line. It's like hopping on this line to go up on a daily. Even if you go on an hourly or a 4 hour, let's go on a 4 hour. Still tracking the same stupid line. So it might, if it shoots up too much, there are other indicators that can be used, other kind of averages or momentum indicators that can show, well, it's too much up, it has to come down. But as you can see, it's tracking upwards. Some people may also call this as a rising wedge, or I may call it as a triangle, ascending triangle.
As triangle.
Ascending triangle. It is getting stuck in this range, and what's going to happen?
It should shoot up.
Yes, sir. You have the answer. Did I use any magic indicator here?
Now, for me, I was only looking at the triangle, right? If I'm following that particular pattern, then it should shoot up, but I'm not really sure if that's what is the actual triangle.
Let's see. Let's see if we can predict something. A rough estimate. We should shoot up somewhere around here, 17th of August. As per the hourly chart.
Yeah.
And if we switch it to a daily chart, does it work? No, it does not work on daily. No. May or may not. But yet we are looking at 5th of August as of daily. So sometime in next 2 weeks, we should see a spike up like this. Spike up from this particular point on ASX.
Looking at the candle chart or any of this triangle or SMA, how can we determine in case if it become bearish at this point, break this triangle pattern and then come down instead of going up?
Again, the answer is in your question. I don't use SMA. SMA simply means simple moving average.
Yeah.
I use more than simple moving average. There is more than one kind of moving average, but as I said, you look at the smaller trend, you look at the hourly or a minute or whatever, and the bigger trend, the weekly. The weekly is strong up. The monthly is a very strong up. So they will rub off their momentum to the smaller time frame, and then you will see the smaller time frame kind of adding up towards the bigger target. So it's like going up and down, as you would have seen, right? I'm going from daily to an hour to a daily. I'm going back and forth. So that's how I personally analyze. Just look at the candles. There is no secret recipe.
Yeah. No, but see, whatever is there inside your mind, right? It's hard for us to read that one.
Yes, I totally agree, and that's why that's why we are discussing, right?
Okay, so I want you to read out your mind.
I'm reading out my mind. I did. I showed you how. I showed you even on a. Hold on. Let's say 15 minutes. It's a pretty fine granulation. I don't even have to convert it into a line chart.
Yeah.
It's just getting squeezed in. It's like a snake trying to squeeze into a corner. You know?
Yeah.
So that's the holy grail of analysis. So if you can see, this is on a 15-minute. It's taking traction, going up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm not taking 4 steps forward and 3 steps backwards or 2 steps backwards. And yet, in net, it's going up. The net results. That's right there. There is a triangle formation happening. Will you turn it no line chart?
Yep.
Just getting stuck. It may fail. It's not like a triangle is a perfect triangle.
Yeah. So when you said it may fail, what triggers that statement?
If the momentum does not keep up, you start seeing the signs of failure maybe a few hours ahead of time. That's like, you can see that happening. I'll show you. I did do this analysis on ES. I'll show it to you. A few weeks back, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I told him that ES is forming a pennant. A pennant means a symmetrical triangle. And usually it ends up in whatever was the preceding trend, it will end up in the same trend. I'll show you the triangle which I was talking about. This was right here. It's there until it's not, so to speak. So it's in a pennant formation.
Yeah.
This is a 4-hour chart. I will show you on a candlestick how it happened. It was bouncing into between this range, and then it shoots up, after this point, this particular candle. See, look at this candle.
Yeah.
It just said, you know what? Not anymore. I'm not getting squeezed in anymore. And it just shot up. It shoots up, but for only so long. Now, it just failed here. And I did this analysis for someone on Bitcoin yesterday.
Right.
And one of my WhatsApp groups that we had, BTC USD. We'll see. On a daily chart, this is again forming a pennant. How do we confirm it is a pennant or not? Just see, there is a. It's so the minute I try to shoot up, it just bends downwards. So somewhere around 12th of August to 15th of August, somewhere around here, it should try to shoot up. If it keeps into this, keeps going into this corner, Bitcoin.
Yep.
This was just yesterday we were doing, I was having this discussion. Oh, I'll show you something interesting. Tesla. I did this analysis about a month back or so. Hold on. Okay. Candlestick chart. Yeah, this was the pennant. It went all the way from here to this point. All the way from here to this point. And after this day, it just said, you know what? I don't care. I'm just shooting up. And by the way, it's forming another pennant for now. For people who are interested in Tesla, everybody is interested in Tesla. Let's go on a 4-hour chart. There is a pennant formation happening right here.
So it's likely to shoot up again, is what your analysis is saying, right?
Yes, sir. Somewhere here. So if I turn it back into a, let's see what's happening on an hourly chart. Yep. If I turn it into a line chart, you will see how the snake is going inside. See?
Yep.
It's respecting this triangle formation. It should shoot up in the next couple of weeks as per this. And if you look at this big one that I drew on a daily chart, again, this is like a snake that was stuck here and it just shoots up. Would anybody else like to ask anything else?
What are some candlestick patterns that you look at that makes you decide if you would uh, buy stock or buy an option or whatever or not?
Okay.
What the most important, or yeah, what's the most important candlestick patterns that you follow, or the
By the
most
way,
frequent that you see?
I'll show you some free things that you can figure it out on your own, you know. You go to indicators. This is tradingview.com, free account. You just go to indicators. You click on candlestick patterns and you select any one of these. Say a doji. It will point it out for you. I mean, so what does doji mean? It'll also show you the explanation right here if you hover over this label. And you can actually correlate how what pattern indicates what what is the pattern after whatever candlestick pattern you're looking after. For example, bullish hammer. Just turn this doji off. Now apparently this is a bullish hammer, but again, they may or may not happen, but this is how you identify it. As I said, they sometimes fail. You can just keep on, or the easiest way to identify or learn is I look on an hourly chart because that gives me more data set, bigger data set than this. That's a hammer right here. It's a hammer. This is another hammer. Now this hammer shows going up. Similarly, you can just say engulfing bullish. And you already know the answer, engulfing bullish. This candle is a bullish engulfing. This candle is a bullish engulfing. Okay. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I didn't know you can actually do that with TradingView. I just started using TradingView a couple weeks ago, so that's something I can definitely
That's
look at.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So again, for example, this one, it failed, right?
Yeah.
This one failed. But there are so many, I mean, you can always go for shopping as many indicators as you want. Yeah. All kinds of fancy names, hanging man, gravestone, bullish harami, bearish harami, things like that, dragonfly. So you can always identify candle patterns, candlestick patterns here. Let's say bullish harami. Again, let me delete. So this is the only catch here, that with a free account, you can put only 3 indicators. That's a bullish harami on a 1 hour chart. As for this, it went up for a bit until it failed. It was at its level here. And if you can see, this was also going into a squeeze. It was getting squeezed here. Sorry. It was getting squeezed here. It squeezed, it shoots up, and it fails. You can see that, right?
Yeah, so this is an example of when the triangle that you've been showing us fails, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, depends on what time frame you're talking about. Because if someone were to make money on this time frame, right, they will go on a 5-minute or a 15-minute and make money right here. Where were those lines? I'm trying to find my lines.
It's a very small window.
I mean, I could expand it, but then on your end, it will. I don't know if you would be able to view it properly or not. Is it visible to you guys now?
Yes.
Okay.
No, what I mean to say is your event is so small, it may or may not show in the one. Oh, it's a 5-minute. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
No, it's a 5-minute. I was looking at a hourly chart when I drew this squeeze. This is here. So, sorry, it might not show. But how would a person who is on top of their game use this information? They will wait for the squeeze and they will put maybe a buy order here and put a limit order on top of it, and it shoots up, buys and hits the target, and they jump off the train. That's how they use this information. I mean, I can always show you shapes in the clouds, but the whole point is, what's the point if you're not able to make money, right?
So he basically rides that candlestick just up to the top of the wick, and he puts
Yeah.
a stop limit or a limit.
Yeah, the person can
Okay.
actually put their limit order here, and they get hit, and they just jump off. They make money, right?
Yeah.
If they see, so on a 5-minute chart, you will certainly see the squeeze happening here. It gets into a squeeze, and you can just shoot up within an hour. You'll make your money and jump off this instrument, whatever you're trading,
And then you can do a short.
and then you can do a short if your account allows that. Yes, sir. You can certainly do a short.
Sorry, a short is much harder than trading a long, correct?
No, different kinds of accounts have different kinds of restrictions. So, for example, the retirement savings account, different countries have different names for those accounts. They have some sort of restrictions. Also, the account size matters. The smaller accounts usually do not have much freedom. It's like the weird rule of rich getting richer. They've rigged the game so that only the rich keep getting richer.
Yeah.
Don't we all know that? Right? So, anybody else wants to chime in with any question or ideas, or would like to know more?
So
last 5 minutes.
So the Japanese, you're saying, right? If we go through the books or documents, I'm not sure if understanding and trying to remember all the things like doji, hammer, morning star.
Mm-hmm.
If we understand when we look at a candle and say like, oh, this is a doji. If we look at another candle and we say like, oh, this is morning star. If you know the meaning of those, is that going to help us to identify the entry and exit point, like having a very understanding of the base, very good understanding of the base of the candle patterns will help us?
So to answer your question, I'll ask you another question instead. If I give you a book, how to drive a car, would you be able to drive a car?
I mean, the basics.
No.
Not the 100%, but to start with the basics, I was trying to understand
No.
the
So, for
basic
example,
aspect.
so that's what I'm trying to tell you. For example, somebody tells you this is a brake and this is an accelerator, right?
Mhm.
Do they tell you how much pressure do you need to apply on a brake or an accelerator?
No.
No. No, right? What if you just slam your brakes? What's gonna happen? Even though you're trying to stop, you probably might hurt yourself or the occupants, or you might get involved in an accident if you slam your brakes, right? And similarly for accelerator, if you just put the extreme pressure on accelerator, you might hit somebody.
Right, that comes to practice also.
That's the thing, man. You just said it. You just said it. So no matter how many books you read, it's all true. I'm not saying the books are not true. You need practice. I've been practicing for 4 years now. Straight 4 years. And only last year I started trading as a full-time trader. I'm a full-time trader. It's enough for me to live off of. And even though I'm in Sydney, Australia, I trade in US markets just a few minutes a day, and that's more than enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm practicing, but like have like 3 intraday patterns allowed in a 5-day rolling period, so not getting a chance to play full.
Oh, that's again the rule of rich getting richer, right?
Yeah.
You you need to be rich to afford more than that.
Right.
To be able to make more money. It's like you need to have $25,000 in your account. That's SEC rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the way the world is. So we have to live with it. But you can always, again, these things can always be uh, uh, the same set of rules apply for a daily. If not, if I can show you on an hourly chart, I can also show you on a daily chart. You can take swing trades using the same set of information, and once in a week trade will still give you money.
Right. Yeah. That's what I've been doing right now. Once I'm done with my actually 6 trades, because I have an account in Robinhood and then also in TD Ameritrade. So just playing with 6, and once I'm done with 6, I look for swing trade and then go from from there.
Yeah. So the whole essence is, no matter what moving average you use, you can use whatever fancy moving average name you would like, exponential or simple or Hull or Bollinger Bands, whatever the names you cannot even pronounce. There are so many things. Heikin-Ashi candles. The whole thing is based on candles. So instead of going on a secondary data, go on the primary data. That's candles.
Okay.
If you know your candles, any indicator will only help you. Some people like chicken, some people like beef, some people like vegetables. Salt and spices are only to add taste. You know what you want already, right?
Yeah.
Ganesh, if I may add a point.
Sure.
The more the time we spend on a chart like this, you see more the opportunity, then we will get creative in our strategies. We won't get married to just one way of doing things.
Of course. And never stay married to stocks. If it is going down, jump out of it. That's a basic rule of trading. Why stay with the stock when it's already going down?
FOMO, bro. What if it goes up?
What? Well, you can always jump
I
in
said,
when it's going up, right?
Yeah, that's
So
true.
let's say you buy something for $100, it goes up to 200. Now it's coming back. What are you waiting for? It's coming back. Well, get out. And let's say it drops down to 170, 160, 150, whatever. And now it's trying to go back up again. Now you jump back on. Let's say you jump back on at 160. Now you made $80 because you saved $40 on the way down, and you made $40 on the way back up. So you potentially made $80 compared to your friend who was just holding, and he's struggling to get back to break even of 200 when you had jumped off.
Mhm.
So it might seem that you have a higher average price, but man, you made extra money. Think of it from your bank account perspective, not from the average price perspective. Trading requires a lot of discipline. A lot. All right, anybody else, or we can just break the call?
Yeah, I have one more question, but I think it's on a different note, uh, a different topic. I shouldn't say different topic, but it's
Shoot.
related to the order type. Uh, Today I tried using the stop limit, and I gave the stop price when buying the stock. I gave a stock price which was above the. I mean, the price has already exceeded the stop loss what I was thinking about. So it just went ahead and rejected the order. It says like, this couldn't be
Yeah,
complete.
that's obvious, right? You already know the answer to that question. And we can discuss about it in a different call sometime. You can reach out to me directly if you'd like, okay?
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand the stop loss and stop limit. Yeah, that's kind of new to me. So
Yeah. I'll send you some resource links where you can read up some
okay,
reliable resource links. If any of you have any questions, you can just reach out to me. If you'd like, I can drop my number in the text chat here.
yeah, that would be great. Yeah, you can share your number.
My number is in the chat now. If you'd like, you can just drop me a text on WhatsApp, and I'll try to answer your question or point you to the right direction.
Sure,
Okay?
appreciate that.
All right.
Thanks, Annie.
All right. I'll just
Hey,
stop the recording. Yeah.
Danish, just
Yeah.
quickly, do you mind going back to that ASX thing, 200, the
Okay.
XJO?
Yes. Yeah.
So if we take down to the hourly chart or something, looks like it has actually triggered the triangle thing and
I already told you.
shot up.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let me just end the recording.
Yeah. All right.